You know, those there's there's those things in life that you know you should do more often, but you don't. And you don't know why. You really think, you know that it's important. But for whatever reason, life gets busy. Things are stuck on a shelf. Things are shoved in a box and they just don't happen. Well, today I want to talk about one of the things that I do periodically, but I don't do often enough. And that has to do with this precious piece of cargo. You talk about the things in your house that you would grab right away as you run out the door if your house was on fire. This is probably one of them. This is our wedding album. And we got married back in the day before digital. So we got married over 20 years ago. And so we don't have a digital copy of this. We have this book, and this actual leather-bound book means a lot to me. And so I'd want to grab it and run out with it if I could. But today, what I really want to talk about is once in a while flipping through this. And sometimes I do this by myself. Sometimes I want to do this with my wife, or I want to do this actually with my kids and have my kids go through it. And with them, I go through, I try to talk out loud. And to be honest with you, it's been a couple of years since I've done this. So it's time to do it. And I thought about it. So I'm like, well, I'm going to video this because I'm going to actually do this with all of them. But what I want to do is, I don't really want to show you my whole wedding album. I want to just talk out loud as I flip through it, so that, one, my kids watching this, referring back to this later, they can know what I think about when I see certain photos or what things mean to me. So, one, I love great natural materials, so I've always been in love with this rich leather grained book. So as I kind of flip through, I kind of feel like it's a chronicle of from the time I proposed, leading up to the wedding, and then taking you through that day and all the things that you're thinking about that your future will entail, and the work that you'll put in, and the dreams that you'll have, and the promise that's made. I guess it's all of that I kind of flip through in my own mind. But at the front of ours is actually our wedding invitation, which is pretty exciting because it's always kind of the first thing that you think of when you flip through a book like this. And it's the first thing that we did when we got engaged, is to start thinking about where and when and who and how you're going to invite everyone. Oh boy. So right away, obviously there's going to be a lot of photos of bride and groom. And I think one of the more immediate things is my wife was so beautiful on that day, and she's beautiful today. But when you're talking about 20 years, how much we've all changed. I see my niece that is now in her late 20s, and she's probably 7 there. Friends that are so close that we haven't seen before. But I think the number one thing for me is going to be the smile on my wife's face. And I can already tell that I'm going to be a little bit emotional through this, so I'm going to try and keep that in check. But even though there's, 50 photos of her in here, I think each facial expression is a little different, and each smile is a little different. Everybody is so young. And if anybody watching this that's in this book, I don't mean you're old now, but we were all so young back then. Oh my gosh, family that we've lost. Jenny's mother, probably at the top of the list. And I think she thoroughly enjoyed that day. It can be a little scary, I think, for parents to be giving away their daughter to some knucklehead with hair. Yes, I had hair once upon a time, and a period of my life when I wasn't wearing glasses. Yeah. Close friends, close family. My brothers, my best friends that are like brothers to me. The formal black tuxes, the beautiful dresses, lilies are Jenny's favorite. So of course we had to have lilies. My grandparents that I've lost, I idolized my grandparents. My grandfather years and years ago, and my grandmother just this last year. So fun. We got married outside and then at a reception inside at a state park. Luckily, the weather cooperated with us. Oh, our rings. I don't know how much I sweated over my wife's engagement ring. And even though you sweat over it, I'm not totally thrilled with the ring that I got her today. I wish I would have done some things differently. However, don't sweat it. Just get what you think she's going to love and adore, and the meaning behind it is what's most important. We got married by Jenny's uncle, which was very personal to us, very important to us, and we're so thankful that he agreed to do it, and he did such a wonderful job. I can remember being so excited and so nervous all at the same time. And we were very traditional in the fact that I did not see Jenny throughout that day at all until I could see her at the very end, the farthest view you could possibly imagine when she first came out. And of course, she's the one in white. So once I saw her, it was just an explosion of emotion. Oh, and some of these very intimate shots that the photographer caught are absolutely fantastic. I love that. And I love all the sneaky smiles in the background. Right there, my dad smiling, my mom smiling back there. Those are fun little catches. Now, some of the posed shots, like the hands holding hands in the close-up, I know that's what photographers do, but okay, whatever. I know you have to do that. One of my favorite shots that didn't make the book was me sticking my tongue out at Jenny as we were trying to be serious photographing. We have a framed photo of it, but it didn't make the book for some reason. I don't know why that is, but it didn't make the book. Yeah, some people we have not seen in such a long time, but of course then there's all the wedding party shots and family shots. We both come from big families. Some of these cherished people we have lost, which is quite sad, but that's what happens, and that's why we capture it in a book like this. I know that these few shots here are us listening to speeches. I absolutely loved hearing the speech, and then I gave a speech also. That just meant so much to me personally, and I think it meant so much to Jenny as well. That is so fun. Extended family and friends that came, co-workers, people that I haven't even seen in so long that don't even work with anymore. And girlfriends, there's a couple of people that are divorced I see here. It's amazing how life changes and shifts. Oh, the cake with the covered in sugar flowers. How much do we go over and over about the details of the cake? Now, we did feed cake to each other, but we were nice and neat and clean. I don't get the whole jam it in their face and they're pulling it out of their nose for the next 30 minutes. That makes no sense to me at all. And then dancing. our families enjoy dancing, and we had fun dancing and seeing Jenny dance with her dad. She has a certain look on her face anytime she's overwhelmed with emotion, and I love that look. Absolutely love that. One of my favorites is my little niece here holding a rose up to my face as I'm holding her off the ground. And again, she is married with 4 kids now, but she was just a little tyke then. And Jenny's cousin, which were all kids, there was like probably 8 of them, did a dance performance for us and performed in front of 100 plus people. That was so cool. We still talk about it today. But this is a wonderful thing to go through periodically and remember those moments. Remember that day and everything since then. So don't just put it on the shelf or stick it in a box. I hope this is advice that my kids listen to and that they follow this direction to pull theirs out and look at it together once in a while. One of the best pieces of advice that I've passed along to people over the years that are getting married, I did on the day of our wedding, and it all comes back to me on days when I go back through this, is I told them to do one thing. Is I wanted to make sure that I took several points throughout the day where I just sat back quietly by myself, nobody around, and just soaked in everything that was going around me. I was taking mental pictures. I was trying to capture my feeling and what was going on around me and the gravity of the day. I made a point to do that consistently throughout the day before we actually got married, during the ceremony, as well as into the reception and evening. And I remember so much detail of that day because I did that. And when I go through this album and I see certain photos, I can put myself back in that space and I'm just reminded of it. I think that process on that day, and I think that process going through my wedding album at times by myself, as well as with my wife and my kids, it helps reaffirm to me about the mistakes I've made, and it's okay. Just keep going forward and to just keep loving and to keep working and to keep focused and just living life and loving it. So if you have a wedding album, pull it out. If you're young like my kids and you're not married yet, and I hope it's not happening soon, take your time. But when it does happen, soak in every moment. Remove yourself from the chaos of it and just absorb. And then go through the things that trigger your memory and take you back to the place. And I hope to do this when I'm 90, and I hope that my kids, when they have this book at some point, they periodically go through that and remember the times that we went through it with them. So that's my cheesy, sappy wedding album story. Thanks.